Okay. So yeah, before is a method which is a precondition for all the test cases. For every test case, this will run. Okay. So yeah, write to the notes point of view. Before is an annotation, which is a precondition step, which will run for every test case. For every test case. Run before every test case. So now what will happen if I run my whole test cases? See what will happen. You can see that. You can see that. Oops. Yeah. You're creating an employee. Add contact details test is done. This is again deleting. And again for the second test case, which we do not recognize, for that test case also it is again creating an employee and performing that test case and deleting an employee. So the flow is something like before test case 1, after, again mainly before, test case 2, after and stop. So for every test case it does before and after. Then only in the between only it will execute the test case. You can see that. So our before and after is encompassing this test case. Yeah, but for any test case you have precondition and post conditions. So for every test case it is applicable. But no sir, if I have some test case it is specific to have preconditions. For some test case there is no specific I need to have preconditions. Put that in a different class file. That will put in a different test suite. For this test suite point of view, this is required. Okay. But we have some tests here. We have some code which have to be executed, something like login and opening browser only for the first time throughout the world at the end of the session. Only once you do it. How many times I need to open the browser? Only once. Don't open browser 100 times, right? So at very first you need to do something, at very last you need to do something. Between whatever happened, I don't care. Last step should be either, anyway it should close the browser. Without closing the browser, if you stop in middle, that will not make any sense. It will crash your application. So for that purpose, we use this, which is nothing but your before class. So there is one more method, you can write it anywhere, don't worry. There is something called before class, which is nothing but before class means it will start before even this particular test suite is called. Okay, and that is throughout your session. If you have 10 classes, 10 suites, for everything that will be the first starting point. So that is the main starting point for your compiler to come. So your compiler comes to before class, then go to before, go to test, then after, then again before, then go to after. That's the reason why I thought I would have this pen. Sorry. Okay, so you have before class, then before, test, after. Remember in my interview, one guy asked the sequence about how the Junit annotations flows. This is a very much interview question. And again before, and again test. So test 1, test 2, and again after, and finally after class. Okay, so this is very beginning at very end, that's it. So like this, test case 1, test case. Sometimes it can be test case 2, it can be test case 1. So but these are common to every test case. And this has a whole, it's a test suite. If I have one more class, only one test one, we don't have any before and after. We have test 2. But and if I use before class, so my sequence will be before class, test 1, test 2, after class. So this before and after class will be, I mean, if you put as before and class for this class also, it will execute. Okay, so like that the sequence will go. So if I go and create my okay, and yeah, just for your clarification, what is your name? Suresh. Yeah, for your clarification, if you put this, okay, it will just run. Okay, what is this? Close and log out. Make sense? Okay, and method. Okay, make sense? If I run everything, what will happen? You see that the sequence, how it flows. Okay. Okay, very good. Perfect. It should be static. Why static? Because close and open should be always once. Okay, just put that as static. I'll tell you the reason later. Okay. Okay. See, I am at opening the browser, create employee, add contact details, do that, do this, do this, do that. Again, create employee, add in test case, delete employee. I am at close and logging out. Okay. So see, so that is the sequence. So all the Selenium test cases, we need to follow this sequence. Okay, so we need to design our test cases such a way that it actually optimize the code. Don't write login, do that, do this to 200 lines of code. We should very much optimize our code. And whatever the code that Selenium ID is giving straight away is also not very much optimized. They do before and after only. They don't do before class and after class. So Selenium ID is only for just like that purpose. Touch, that's it. But going forward in the next class, we should forget about what is Selenium ID. In the real world also, we never care about Selenium ID. Okay, we only care about WebDriver, and we only use Selenium ID in the case of finding an element. Only for that XPath thing that we did in the first session. We write our own XPath to verify that XPath is correct or not. We go and click on find button, or that's it. But apart from that, we really don't do much more than that. But remaining all, see, now you can see that does it have before class and after class. So typically, if we have two test cases, this guy, because the thing is every one recording HTML file will have only one test case. These guys have that limitation. But can we go only with one test case? No, multiple test cases. That's the reason why they had given all this before and after, which doesn't make any sense. We should have a before class, before. We should only create browser at before class. So that I will tell. Okay, so till now whatever we have in Selenium ID is only for, that's it. I think almost 2 weeks we started with Selenium ID, but now it is time to forget about that. Okay, so provided you are all, I'm assuming that you all practice for 2 weeks. You have one more week to complete your practice on Selenium IDE, and from next week, forget about everything. Okay, so that is the thing. So just to recap, what we learned today is about XPaths, and we discussed about different kind of XPaths and locators, ID, relative, attribute, and position, and how to handle multiple table, how to handle XPath, so everything related to that. And we had a recap of what we already learned, which is very important. And I already accepted that Java is important. So why I'm not really going ahead and writing all these things in WebDriver code? Why I'm not explaining everything to you? I'm giving only one wildcard option so that you will come up with Java by next week. Till I covered all the things important till WebDriver, all the basics important for you to start with WebDriver. Okay, so I had given enough time and enough options. So Java is very important. And second thing, point of view, second half, what we discussed about annotation assets, and we discussed about how to create a class, how to create a project in Java, and how to make it as test class, test project. And we discussed about to create a test class and created different annotations, including test before class and after. Okay, so this is important program. You need to go and practice. Okay, so you do by yourself, and if possible, you can, if people are still, yeah, I'm very much enthusiastic, you can copy the code from here, small code from here, and put it into your Eclipse, but it won't work because you need to have Selenium server. If you should have Selenium server. I can straight away give you the command, but that don't make any sense before till you understand the infrastructure of Selenium server. You need to know where is the commands going, where it is coming. For that, next week is important. Okay, so if you really have time, try to concentrate on this WebDriver APIs. Okay, so we have all these APIs, find element, all those things if you have time. Okay, but typically concentrate on your Java. Importantly, you should have to concentrate on creating class, methods, static, abstract class, super classes, methods, data types, strings, and everything. Okay, so this is the last class. I don't give any option to you. You can see that if I start talking, I can go anywhere. Okay, so you people will suffer. So this is the last week. Do that and complete your thing. Okay, and for YouTube, just don't wait for my mail.